Welcome to the first part of this business series. This part is going to cover business and then how to find a niche to venture into. In trying to find the niche, there are three things you have to consider. The first thing is necessity. Necessity, as we all know, is the mother of invention. Where there is a need, there would always be demand for that particular need. If you find yourself in a community where they lack water and then you provide water for that community, there would always be demand for your service. There would always be demand for your product. That is you supplying water to that community. And then the second is passion. What are you passionate about? So, regardless of whatever you want to do, as long as you're passionate about that thing, you are going to thrive in it because it's something that comes from within, something that you're really passionate about. So you want to either look at something that there is a need for or something you're passionate about. And then the third one is something you relate to. This one is very, very important because I know a lot of people that start earning a living from something that was once a problem to them, like something that they can easily relate to. So let's say that I have very, very strong palms, like my palms are really strong, and I source for products or I look for products that would help smoothen my palms, right? So now, if I come up with a formula or I come up with something that would make my palm smoother and then I put it out there to the world, there would be a demand for it because I am not the only person in the world that has very hard palms. There are other people as well looking for the same thing that I am looking for, and it is something I can relate with. Or let's say you have a story, or let's say there is something you struggle with, and then you put it out there to the world. It's something that you can relate to, and then there are other people as well that can relate to that thing that you can relate to, and then you're not just putting it out there, you're bringing a solution to them. There would always be demand for that particular thing. So what is business? As we all know, business is the art of buying and selling. It could be products, it could be services, it could be that you're providing a value for people, because people look at business as just commodities, they look at business as just physical products, but then people are thriving in business and they are not even selling any product. There are people that are selling courses online. There are people that are selling solutions. There are people that are selling their time to you, right? And then you're paying them for that particular services that is being rendered to you, right? People attend shows to get entertained. In that whole sector, like in the whole entertainment sector, right? Everything that has to do with the whole entertainment and then trying to like sell tickets to people, all those things has to do with business. And business is not only selling or buying like physical product, it has gone way beyond that. You can either choose to sell your knowledge to people, you can either choose to sell your time, you can either choose to sell products that are beneficial to you, you can either choose to sell products that are in demand, right, where there is a need for that product, or you can either choose to sell products that you can relate to or products that you're really passionate about. So now when you really think about this deeply and then you go inwards, right, and then you do your research, you can now come up with something or look for a niche that you want to venture into. And then talking about niches, right, it is very important that when you want to start a business or when you're planning to start a business, you really want to look for a niche that you want to fall under, right? This is going to help you in you being focused, and then it's going to help you to be able to align your goals, and then you're not just everywhere, right? You are in a particular niche, and then even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, but then you have an idea, right? It's going to help you to be able to know, okay, which niche do I want to fall under? Let me give an example of a few niches, and then you see that those niche really are niched down, right? Because like talking about different things, like there's the skincare niche, there's the fashion niche, there is the self-care niche, there is the wellness, and so many niches, right? So let's talk about the fashion niche. So inside the fashion niche, you can choose to go for clothes, or you can choose to sell footwears, or you can choose to sell accessories, or you can choose to sell any single thing that has to do with fashion. And then let's say you want to sell clothes, right? For clothes, right? Do you want to go for adult wears? Do you want to go for children wears? Do you want to go for male wears? Do you want to go for sports wears? Do you want to go for like traditional wears, like different wears? Which one do you really want to go for? And then talking about adult wears, right? Do you want to go for let's say, do you want to go for like casual wears? Do you want to go for corporate wears, right? You have to really niche down to what you really want to do, right? It is always better to start with something and then um, add multiple things as you grow than just trying to do so many things and then you're confused. Or you can start with so many things and then um, try to figure out the particular one you want to start with. But then I like to start with a particular thing, right? But then I know where I am headed and I know that there are so many things I want to like add to this particular thing I'm currently selling. And then I know like where my eyes is, but then this is where I am at the moment. This is the like inventories I can afford at the moment, and then I know that okay, this is how I am starting, right? It is always better to niche down. Let's say you want to go for like corporate wears. So now your target audience are maybe corporate workers, they are business people, they are young adults, right? And then this particular people, they are your target audience. So now you want to know, okay, what age do my target audience fall under? Let's say they are 19 to let's say 35 years, right? And then you can now have a particular picture. Okay, this is how my target audience look like. This is what my target audience can afford. Because if you're bringing out products and then your target audience cannot afford it, what is the essence of you bringing out those products? So you really have to consider all of this when you are looking for a niche because they are so and they are really important. Now let me list a couple of niche that you might want to look into. The first one is skincare. It's very important. Skincare is very deep. There's so many things that you can do under skincare. You can also choose to go into like lip protection or lip care product. You can also choose to like go into maybe palm cream or maybe like body cream, body lotion, maybe face cream, maybe acne solutions. Maybe you also want to go into let's say face masks, serums. There are so many products that you can choose to dive into if you really want to go into skincare. And then let's say you don't want to sell products, right? But then you want to sell your information, you want to sell your knowledge, right? You can as well start creating content that has to do with skincare. And then brands that sell those skincare products would pay you to use their products and then you can earn money from that as well. This is so beautiful. Then you can choose to go into kitchenwares, kitchen utensils. You can consider the hair care products or like the hair care niche entirely, and then you can look into that and know which one do you want to actually go into. And then you can also look into health and wellness. This is something that is thriving and it's something that would always stand out because people are always conscious about their health, something that people will continue to be aware of. And then one thing I would suggest is you have to make sure that you do lots of research because when you are planning to start a business, you have to okay know okay what do I really want to sell, right? That is when you have to focus on like trying to niche down. And then when you have in mind what you want to sell, that is when you can now start sourcing or looking for where to source for those products. And then that is where mini importation is going to fall under, right? And then when you're trying to figure out like what you want to do, if you have an idea of the niche you want to fall under, you can create a folder on your phone. This is something I love. And then you can start putting your ideas down. You can go to Pinterest and look for like maybe samples or maybe ideas of different products that are already existing and try to see people or businesses that are already doing something you want to do, right? And then try to see what you can bring into the market that is different or that is better, right? Or maybe you want to maybe look for something that is not existing and then something you want to provide for your target audience and then you want to like start putting your ideas down. When you're starting a business or when you plan on starting a business, please write down all your ideas. This is so important because as time goes on, you're going to be occupied by so many other things. This is something that is so valuable, right? You can choose to write them down on your notepad. You can choose to write down them on your notebook. Just have a notebook or maybe a notepad for your business. Put all your ideas down and then you can start creating content about them. Even if you don't post them public, you can just private those content because now you have the ideas. Everything is in your head and it is very sharp. When you write them down, you write them in detail because as time goes on, your head is going to be occupied by other things and you won't really get those really good information that came to your mind or those knowledge. You might not really get all of them. So it is very, very important that you put down your knowledge somewhere or put down your ideas somewhere so that you don't forget it. And I highly recommend going on Pinterest, going on Instagram, going on pixel and look for ideas. And then talking about skincare, there are people with different kind of skin, right? There are people that have very dry skin. There are people that have oily skin. There are people that have very sensitive skin. So now you really want to study about these things and then know which particular audience you really want to cater to. Let's say you're someone that have very oily skin, like me, I have very, very oily skin. Then I read more about like oily skin. Then I look for products that help with oily skin and I start experimenting it on myself because I have oily skin. Then I can now easily teach people and then put out those products because when you're putting out those products, you want to also be teaching about how to use those products. And then because you have oily skin, you can easily relate and then you can easily put out the knowledge out there because it's something that you've tried on your skin. You know how it works, you know how long it can be used. It is very, very important. Let's say even if you're doing the whole skincare and let's say you want to cater for people with oily skin for a start, then as time goes on, you can choose to like cater for people with very, very dry skin. You can try out your products, maybe the products you want to bring in on other models. And then mind you, right, you might think that if you niche down, you won't really get a lot of audience. But then do you know thousands and millions of people with oily skin? And then imagine that you're selling a very, very good product and you're educating them on how to use those products. Do you know the number of customers you would get if you only cater for people with oily skin? It is so important to niche down. So the next section will be mini importation. And then we're going to cover the different ways you can source for products, whether you want to buy physically or whether you want to buy virtually, and then how to actually source for those products. I hope this part was valuable to you. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any series. Do have an amazing day. Always remember that God loves you and it is His will you live an excelling life.